everyone, welcome to episode 2 on how to make a shooter game in Scratch. In the previous episode, we focused on the player movement and shooting. In this episode, we will be adding enemies to our shooter game. So let's get started. So before we do that, uh, I feel the player and the bullet is quite big, so I'll change the size to 85, and I'll do the same to the bullet sprite as well. So now it feels much better. Okay, now let's add the enemies. So go to your player sprite, then just copy this, create a new sprite, paste, and then just remove this gun, and then I'll just give it a different color, something like red or something, and then let's set it to 85. Let's set the size to 85. Okay, now let's call this zombies. Okay, so now I want the enemies to come from either of these four sides, and we're going to be using clones. So let's hide the original sprite, and then let's take a forever loop, create clone of myself, then let's wait something like 2 seconds every time. Okay, then after that, let's do when I start as a clone, uh, let's show, and then create a new block called pick random side. Okay, then once you have done that, so basically we have four sides. So uh, we need to pick random 1 to 4. So take a if then else block, put a equal to block, then in the left side put pick random 1 to 4, and if the value becomes 1, then we want it to spawn up here. Let's just show this for now, and so here it will mostly be uh, so like the y will be 182 while the x is minus 207 to a positive value which is 207. But then when the pick random block value will become 2, then just set the y to minus 182. However, when it becomes 3, I want it to go right, so which means the x will be 226. However, the y position will be something like minus 139 to 139. Last but not least, if it is left, let's set the x to minus 226. Okay, great. Now it picks a random edge every 2 seconds. So yeah. Also, let's just keep this wait 2 seconds above the create clone myself. So we don't need to clone right at the beginning. So yeah. Now I want the enemy to move. So what we will do is we'll take a if, like we'll take a forever loop, and then we'll move certain amount of steps, like move 3 steps. And also before we do that, we'll do point towards player. Make sure to keep it in the forever loop. Let's do point towards player, and then move 3 steps. So as you can see, it comes. However, when it touches the edge, I wanted to delete it, the clone. So if touching edge, let's delete this clone. But however, we have a problem. When it spawns in one of the sides, it spawns in the edge, and if we check if it's touching the edge, it deletes its clone right there, and we won't find any enemies. So to fix this problem, take a repeat until block, and then do repeat until not touching edge. Then take this same script but removing this touching edge uh, if block. Put this point towards player and move 3 steps in this repeat until loop, and then put it before the forever loop and not inside the forever loop. And then let's clean that up, and then now if you check, it should go in the edge like this. Okay, so yeah, it goes in the edge and deletes itself. Okay, now I want it like whenever we shoot it, it should like die. So to do that, let's do when I start as a clone, we'll do if touching bullet, then wait something like 0 seconds, and then delete this clone. The reason I'm doing 0 seconds is so that there is bullet collision, because in a lot of cases the bullet collision does not happen. So as you can see, okay, that does not work. Let's just do it in the bullet sprite then. Just drag this and then put it here. And then here, uh, let's, okay, now, okay, so put the touching zombies. Okay, so basically what you need to do is from this zombies sprite, carry this to the bullet sprite, and then just replace this touching thing to zombies, and now this should really work. Okay, it works. Bullet collision works. Now, only when we hit once, uh, the enemy is able to die, which I don't want. I want, uh, I want it to have some lives. So before we do that, I want each enemy to have different colors. I'm just going to fix the coloring of this, not too bright. Okay, let's set the color to pick random 0 to 100. So every enemy has their own color. Yeah, like so. Okay, now let's create the lives as I was talking about. So create a new variable called zombie lives for this sprite only. And then in the beginning, let's just set it to something like 3. And then let's just remove this for now. Don't delete it, but just remove it for now. So if touching bullet, let's change the zombie lives by -1. Then uh, we'll do a certain effect, something like set brightness effect to 100. Then we'll wait 0.05 seconds. Then clear graphic effects. Then put it here. But before that, we'll just take a if statement and check if the lives is like the zombie lives is less than 1. When it is less than 1, let's just delete this clone. Okay, now let's test that. Okay, so that works. Okay, so the problem is when we hit it once, the color goes away. So the reason that happens is we have the clear graphic effects, so it clears all the graphic effects, and this color effect is also related to graphic effects. Let's just delete that, and then instead we will set the brightness to 0. Now that should work. Okay, so yeah, now to make the game more challenging, when the player touches the when the player touches the enemy, let's just stop all. So if touching zombies, then stop all. So if I touch, it just stops the project. So that's the end of this episode. In episode 3, we will be concentrating on weapon switching, and we will be adding the machine gun to our game. So stay tuned by subscribing and turning on the notifications. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the upcoming videos. Bye.